achieving or getting away of tackling the dwindling figures or figures that have not been growing as far as our financial inclusion is concerned. When we look at this, the topic that we are going to discuss today is embracing financial inclusion, strategies and insights, critical lessons for the insurance awareness, training and education. I have two eminent panelists. I have Dan Awedo. I have also Beatrice Oduso. And these people are very good in what they do. But we need to know how we are going to apply the same. And one of the things is, when we look at the financial inclusion, we are saying that the banks, our cousins, I understand that we are related. I don't know how. They are at 69% in terms of financial inclusion. When we look at insurance, it's at 2.9%. When we look at the risk ecosystem, the risk is morphing, is changing every day. Every day. When you open the newspapers, when you listen to the news, there are incidences that require insurance. Is it that we are poor? Is it that we are not aware? What is it that is making us, is it perception? So today, we want to look at those things, and it is going to be a very interactive session to see whether we are going to decode, dissect this issue, and from here, we are going to be billionaires. So I'm going to start with Dan Awedo, not because I want to skip protocol, but it's because, number one, in Africa, maybe men first, then ladies come second, so that you can actually make sure that there are no thugs on the way, so that the ladies are comfortable. We are managing risks at this time. So I'm going to start with Dan Awedo. Allow me with humility not to go so much into the biodata. Dan is my good friend. He is in the finance industry. He knows it like the back of his head. And he is going to discuss that. If you want the biodata, it's there. And then after that, I'll ask Dan Awedo to sit on the other side so that the lady can feel more comfortable in between here. So we are going to start with Dan Awedo. Dan, come here. And from here, you are going to talk for 15 minutes. And then Beatrice is also going to do it 15 minutes. And then we sit down. Let's welcome Dan Awedo. Testing mic, test mic.
Good morning, everyone. Today's presentation is not something you don't know, it's something you know, but just put in a different perspective to help us to identify some of the opportunities I think that are coming into the market. And so you'll excuse me if I move a bit, so that I can get your eyes rolling, instead of rolling down, rolling sideways. So the So I'm broadly going to cover 5 main areas, hopefully within the 15 minutes. And it's mainly to do with just looking at the industry and the economics around the industry, the areas around making sure that we are generating significant contribution to GDP, because if you don't know, and you will know by the end of the day today, that the level of competition you have as insurance and insurance broking practitioners is different from what you thought you knew. So first of all, talking about the penetration. We are at 2.9%. I agree that the African average is at about 2.8%. But there are some countries that are way, way above what we are currently enjoying. South Africa, for example, are at 14.1%. Little Namibia is at about 7%, 7.2%. Mauritius is about 6%. If you look at the other countries around the world, Europe or in America, North America, we are just close to 10%. So what is it that we are still doing at 2.9%? Contribution to GDP versus other sectors. Everybody usually is combined with the financial sector, talking about banks, combining banks and insurance companies. But if you look at banks and insurance companies, their participation in the economy is very different. Now, penetration for insurance companies is looked at against GDP. And so at any one time, total contribution for Kenya is about 8%. And a very, very small percentage of that comes from insurance, which means that there is very little that is coming from you guys. Very, very little. I know you're making money, but you can make a lot more money if you just added another 2% to that ratio. South Africa is at 20%. 20% sharing, say, 50-50 between the financial industry and the insurance industry. It means that they are enjoying a lot more profitability than you would see in a lifetime. And so we need to start thinking about how do we increase our base? How do we increase our bottom line? So population. Did you know that the high income in Kenya are just about 1%? Did you know that the middle income in Kenya is no more than 10%? We're talking about 500,000 people and 2.7 million, say 3 million people. The rest of the population is looked at as either poor or lower income. Surprise, surprise, the income streams. 1% is considered anybody who is earning more than, household which is earning more than 500,000. Now that number may sound very small, but if you look at the actual data that comes from the economist.com, you'll find that majority of people actually fall way, way, way below that number. And so I find that most of the insurance companies are spending their time on the top 6-7%. And even then, I had a comment from one of our media partner that even the middle class do not understand what insurance they should have. So we need to interrogate why. Because we need to increase the wallet share that we have as an industry when we are going into the market. What are the obstacles? Some of the things that I think you are facing. I think one of them is just basic literacy. And I'm not talking literacy of the clients. I'm also talking literacy of the practitioners. I'm not in the insurance industry, but I face a lot of insurance personnel. Either they're coming to sell me a cover, whether it's the insurance company itself, or it's you guys, the insurance brokers, who are coming to sell me a cover. Very often, they actually don't know what they're talking about. And I know a lot of you agree with me. In fact, it gets worse. For many years, insurance broking industry was considered to be the industry where people go when they have nothing else to do, isn't it? Isn't it? Am I right? That you're failed in other areas, so you find yourself in the insurance agency business. And that, of late, I see that is changing. I hear that is changing significantly. But that mantra, that belief is still in the market. And so people feel cheated when you issue a cover and you don't get paid on their claim. Usually, insurance companies are looking for ways not to, as opposed to making sure that they pay. And I find that affects the issue of literacy. How many insurance brokers here, by a show of hands, have a research and development department? Okay, those are quite many. That's 0. How many insurance companies that you work for have research and development departments? You can tell. I see one hand that is like this. You can tell where the problem starts. We are mining our own life and blood. We're not going out there to seek for new business. And research, getting into new concepts, getting into new pricing, because I think you have a big problem with pricing. Getting into new distribution models, because I think you also have a very big problem in distribution models. How do you get there when you're not researching and looking for new ways of doing things? The earlier speaker talked about digital payments. And I'm not talking about you sending money to your house help or buying your fuel. I'm talking about going into an app that gets you your cover. Most of you are now linked to PesaLink or even to the usual Safaricom. So you have a pay bill, no problem. But if you look at the PesaLink app, for example, through your banks, how many of those companies are insurance companies? I see Zuku, I see DSTV, I see KPLC, but I don't see an insurance company. Why? Those are the areas we are missing. So because this, ladies and gentlemen, is the future of transactions anywhere in the world. And so I ask an interesting question here. You still have your job as a broker, no problem. But how long for? You have your business as a broker or even an insurance company. How long for? That job is going to disappear quite soon. It will be taken over by an app, something on the mobile platform. If you're ready for it, then you know that you're in the right place. But are you? Some of the other obstacles. Single product. In fact, someone says that if we removed the regulated products that you have as insurance companies, what will insurance look like? If you remove all the regulated products, motor vehicle insurance and so on and so forth, what will you remain with? We have been selling those single products for the last 50 years. Very, very, very little innovation as far as new products are concerned. The 94% of population are still missing you in the picture. Regulatory framework as a problem. And I face it even with my own regulators. They are there to make sure the rules are followed, but not to encourage the growth of the industry. And that's a problem we have to deal with. How do we get our regulators to be ahead of the industry in growing the bottom line? Mistrust by clients. I've talked about that. Expanded competitor market. Let me give you an interesting scenario. A few months ago, someone won SportsPesa. You remember him, Abisai? 200-something million. Would you consider that insurance for him? He paid a ticket for a ticket, isn't it? He ended up with 200 million. Is it surprising that today the betting companies generate somewhere between 5 and 10 billion shillings a month? Did you know that it's nearly 10 billion shillings a month that we spend on betting? How many insurance companies have that kind of turnover? Do you consider that your competitor? that is your competitor. Because that is where a significant part of the GDP is going. I have a short story about Maria. Just looking at the client and how your client operates. Maria wakes up at 4 every morning. What does he need? What does she need? She needs her family to have a life cover. She needs her family to have health cover. She needs her family to have crop and weather cover because she'll be going to the shamba immediately thereafter. At the same time, Maria comes out, makes breakfast. Does she have fire cover? What other cover can she access at that level? She goes to the market where she does wholesale business of mitumba. Maria has to pay county government. And so she has to move using Anduthi. Everybody knows what Anduthi is. Using Anduthi back and forth from the market to the county offices. She needs transport. She's carrying cash. Does she have cash in transit? Once she's finished with the county, she has to go and buy her product. The product comes in lorries. She has to move that product to her stall. Does she have goods in transit? She sells. She has cash in the stall. After all this process, you might find that Maria was your customer that you never talked to. Because at the end of the day, when she goes back home, you know what she will do with the money she has collected? Some of it she will pay a chama using the telephone that she has. Where will the rest of the money go? Some of it will actually go to SportsPesa. At your detriment, because you're not part of her life. So, let's talk about inclusion. These are Maria's other neighbors. Where she works, she has many neighbors. Furniture, Juakali, they are selling their wares. Those are Maria's neighbors. Let me ask you a question. What do these guys have in common? The first thing is that they're in business. And so the process I've taken you through as far as Maria is concerned is exactly the same as what these other guys go through. Are these guys your customers? They fall part of the 94% that we have left out as a market. Why? Because this is how they keep their books. Is this something you can look at? Books in that state? But there's one thing they have in common also, is that they have a mobile phone. Every transaction is captured through that process. To what extent are you part of what she pays out or what they pay out on a daily basis? Why can't it be transaction for you and for them? Because the mobile phone in Africa has taken over everybody's life. We are at a growth level of more than 40% year on year, which is about double what the world average growth on mobile penetration is. Our coverage is more than 70% compared to the rest of the world. Africa is ahead as far as this is concerned. How is your business geared to take advantage or to be left behind when these things are happening? Facebook worldly have a near 2 billion users operating every month. In Kenya alone, we have about 8 million users of Facebook. We have about 7 million users of Facebook, 8 million users of YouTube. The newspapers that you advertise on only have a circulation of about 250,000, 400,000. Is this your market? I checked on Google, just typed out insurance in Kenya. You'll be surprised that there is hardly anything. On Google, just type out insurance in Kenya. You'll be shocked at the participation of the insurance industry. And I'm talking about insurance company. I'm not even talking about brokers, because brokers are absolutely nowhere. And yet we expect to grow our baseline. We are growing significantly, at least as far as the mobile telephone is concerned. We need to make sure that we stay ahead. Because the next step, third level, fourth level, is about transactions. How are you positioned to take advantage of that? Other factors, as far as inclusion is concerned, and these are interesting, and I think you need to pay attention. We've talked about your competitors. Because today, the only person who is doing advertising in the radio, did you know, is betting companies. At least the one I listened to, 96.3, I think is a nation one. They only have one advert. No one else speaks except a betting company. Where are the insurance companies? Product range. If you're going to sell to an additional 42 million people, are you going to sell the same regulated product? Absolutely no way. You must find a way of targeting the 94%. The only way to go is micro insurance. When I was doing this presentation, I said insurance inclusion in Kenya requires an equity bank. In fact, it's not an equity bank type. It is an Uber to take over what you guys are doing. If you can't do it, some Uber will come and take it over. Finally, the challenge. Maria is a prospective customer. Is she? Can she access just the risk cover and not the investment? Because that's what everybody sells to her. Oh, here is a cover, but also it's an investment. Just give her what she needs. Does she have to pay for her insurance up front? It is only in the insurance industry that people still do PD checks. When I'm paying for my car cover, I am told, you must give us PD checks. And we have a mobile platform available. Why are we not taking advantage of that? Why can't she just pay for only what she needs? Why can't she have an all-in-one package that she pays via her mobile phone by transaction or daily? Thank you.
Let's give Dan a hearty clap. I think what he has done, he has jogged our mind, and now we are better off in terms of, is it awareness, is it understanding, is it trust, is it cost, in terms of the reasons as to why financial penetration is not happening. And now, in terms of that, is it understanding, is it awareness, is it that we have not aligning our structure to the various dynamics that are supposed to be there? Is it that we are not customer-centric in terms of doing research and development from that particular? We think that we know it all. I think it's good to hear from a practitioner who trains our people who come into this market, and we are going to ask questions as to whether the kind of training that we have, is it aligned to the requirements and needs of our customers, or we just think for them, or we lift these products and do what is called copy and paste. Now, I would like to introduce now the lady Of course, you have seen there was Ben Kajwang, Dr. Ben Kajwang, who was supposed to be with us. Unfortunately, he could not do, but he has ably delegated. And we are going to have Beatrice Oduso. Beatrice, come over. Beatrice is a professional insurance practitioner, having done her BCom. She has also done an MBA in insurance. She is an advocate of the High Court. She is a certified public secretary. She has worked for 14 years. She has 14 years in the claims department, 8 years as a lecturer at the College of Insurance, and she is the head of short and management courses at the College of Insurance. I don't really think we would have had a better person than her. In any case, multi-skilled. Therefore, and by the way, as we continue, let's write down the questions so that we're able to moderate. All right, Beatrice, come over.
All protocols observed. Good morning, or it's afternoon. Good afternoon. So my name is Beatrice Oduso. I teach at the College of Insurance in Nairobi, but I'm here representing the director of the College of Insurance, Dr. Ben Kajwang. And I think I need to thank AIBK for the opportunity that they continually create for us to come and understand what's happening in the insurance industry. Last year we were here, today we are here, and I'm running more. I could be standing in front of you, but I'm getting so much. But my topic for today is on financial inclusion, but I'm going to talk about the area of education, training, and awareness, and how it can impact on financial inclusion. First, I just want to mention about the industry, that at the College of Insurance we train. And since we started training, like the diploma students, we have had about 11,400 people registering for the programs, but it is saddening to note that out of the 11,400 who have registered for our programs, only 505 people have qualified for that diploma. 505 out of 11,400 as at 2016. So I'm wondering, somewhere you start, you drop out. Is it that insurance is not very appealing? I'm an insurance by profession. I go out, I preach insurance, I talk insurance, I teach insurance, and I wish all of us could be doing that. That you can drink your Sprite, you can eat your Sprite. I love insurance, that's why I'm an advocate, but still an advocate in the area of insurance, trying to tell people out there that insurance is as a good profession as any other profession. And so as we move forward, I want to mention, like, there's a link between training and financial inclusion. Let's look at in 2006, the insurance industry did 41 billion in 2006. As at 2016, the insurance industry had done 196.6 billion. Are we not moving forward? Is there a future for insurance in Kenya? In 2014, the insurance industry in Kenya was rated the fastest growing insurance industry in Africa. We are still moving forward. But I want to ask ourselves, as we talk about awareness, as we talk about education, as we talk about training, the question I ask myself, whose responsibility? And I want to say, the responsibility starts with the insurance industry practitioners. If you are out there and you are not proud of this profession, if you hear people talk negatively about insurance and you support them, I do not know whether we are going to grow. But it starts with ourselves. What is our commitment to this profession? Do I enter insurance by choice? When the students come to the College of Insurance, those who are right from Form 4, my first question I ask, is it that you want to do insurance, or have you been forced by your parents to come and do insurance? so that when we send it to the industry, we are expecting the best. But we can't get the best when you have been pushed by your parent to go and do insurance. But we must talk positively about our profession. That is the only way we can move forward. We must embrace training. That is the only way we can move forward. Let me give a scenario. I used to work in the industry claims department, and a customer came to me, and I told him, this claim of yours, I think we'll pay on contract repairs. The client told me, let me go. I'll come back and give you feedback tomorrow. When the gentleman came back the following day, as he had promised, he was carrying the policy documents. I hope we are giving our policy documents to our customers, but he was carrying the policy documents. He inquired from me, kindly tell us, or tell me, where contract repairs is appearing in the policy document. Is it part of the contract? As at that time, contract repairs, maybe it is there today, but as at that time, contract repairs was not appearing in the policy document. So I don't know if you are in my position how you could react to that kind of customer, but the kind of customer we are dealing with today is more enlightened, more challenging. Mr. Awendo says, I'm not in insurance, but these are the things that are happening. So people out there watching, kindly, can we embrace training? So I'll just go very fast through those areas because of I'm a lecturer, so I'm used to teaching like for 2 hours. So when I'm given 15 minutes, I'll have to move very, very fast. And so my first slide is on what is, let me calm down. I'm also a lecturer, so I'm not used to standing in one place. So we are looking at education. And we are told, there's a quote here, where we are told education breeds confidence. When you are educated, when you are approaching your customer and you have the knowledge, you can talk very, very confidently. When Mr. Awendo talks about you approach a customer, you are selling a product and you do not know more about this product, I ask myself, now what do we do? But when you have the knowledge, when you have the skill, when you undergo training, when awareness is created, at the end of the day, we'll be having confidence. The issue of mistrust will go away. Then we are told confidence breeds hope. We are talking about the future of insurance in Kenya. I think the word hope is about the future. And so we know we have a future. We've moved from 41 billion to 196 billion. I hope in 2017 we'll be talking about 220 billion for the industry, and we'll be cracking for ourselves. And then we are told hope breeds peace. I don't know whether we'll reach a time that we have the education, we communicate, instead of us going to the customers, it is the customer coming to us. You know, people say insurance is sold. It's not bought. Are we going to reach a time when customers are coming to buy insurance the same way they can go to the supermarket and buy something that is a basic commodity? We do a lot of awareness campaigns. Mr. Kiptum was around, but there are a lot of awareness campaigns we do with, in partnership with IRA. Last week I was in Garissa, and as I was in Garissa, I was creating awareness. Garissa is mainly a Muslim community of Somali origin, and they don't appreciate insurance. So when you are mentioning about insurance, a sheikh came to me and asked me, are you going to give us a certificate? I said, yes. Is it that when you give me the certificate, I will believe what you are talking about? I said, no. I'll talk first, you listen, you understand, you appreciate before you accept my certificate. At the end of the 2-day seminar, he accepted my certificate. Dominantly Muslim community. They are wondering what is this thing about insurance. You are talking about medical insurance. They are wondering, medical insurance. God will provide the day someone gets sick. So we've created a lot of awareness campaigns. We have gone to Kitui, we have gone to Makueni. We went to Makueni. There was no insurance company based in Makueni, no insurance broker, no insurance agent, and they told us we only have one agent serving us from Machakos and his name is Danger. You can imagine now an insurance agent called Danger. Now is insurance dangerous? Because I was wondering, but following those awareness campaigns, people are appreciating insurance. We are talking to the traffic police officers, and they are wondering, where are these people? They sell us personal accident insurance. Because the moment you mentioned briefly about the products, they are saying, I think we want personal accident insurance. And we are saying they will come to you. So we are waiting for you to go out. We are creating a lot of awareness. We are training students at the College of Insurance, and we are hoping that you will take them in as and when they approach you. I will not talk about all the slides I have, but I'll go through a few of them. That is, I will not mention what's education. Education is basically about impacting knowledge in the other person receiving the knowledge. After you get the knowledge, you acquire the skill. And that's when I've said, when you have the skill, you can talk with confidence. Then at the end of the day, as industry senior managers, human capital is so critical. You can't ignore them. You can't employ and tell them sit in the office for 20 years without undergoing any form of training, because capacity building is so important. When Section 20 of the Insurance Act, I think this year from January it was to be implemented, I attended a number of those trainings. And one of the issues that kept on coming up, we don't have technical capacity, but we defend ourselves. Kindly, we can stop defending ourselves and take an active role in those trainings, get trained, render service, let people say you are giving a good service. As we move forward, kindly, you know, I see programs like America Has Got Talent. I think Kenya has got talent too. And the talent is also in insurance. I said I love insurance and I talk about insurance. Can we create talent in insurance? A person who sees a customer and smiles. A person who smiles genuinely, not fake, smile. But we have talent and talent in the area of insurance. And I know we can serve our customers better than the way we are doing, and there's a lot of talent only if you can acquire the relevant skills and the relevant training. Then you can manage. The moment you employ people, keep on checking what kind of talent. There are those who could be very good in innovating products. There are those who could be very good in customer relations management. There are those who could be very good in marketing. Just continue managing the talent that we have. Then about how you sustain, I think it all begins from where? When you recruit. What is your recruitment process? Then I think after you acquire, the next thing is develop. That was traditional. Then you deploy, then you retain. And we are told, retain the best. So I don't know the worst what we can do with them. But you retain the best. But we are told the new approach, there must be a connection between acquiring, developing, deploying, and retaining. You must connect. Otherwise, there will be a problem. When you acquire, you want to deploy, you are deploying because it's the worst. Mupeleke kwa branch office. Then, I think there is a research conducted by KPMG in 2014. And in that report, they have mentioned that there are gaps in those areas that have been mentioned there. Issues of managing and writing. It's one thing to do underwriting, it's another thing to manage underwriting. It's one thing to process claims, it's another thing to manage claims. So many areas, customer relations management, analytical reporting, and even presentation skills. Kindly, if you can get this report from KPMG, it's online, and ask yourself, as a company, which are these areas that you are lacking, whether you are a broker, whether you are an agent, whether you are an insurer. Then COI, basically the process, we get our customers, we train, we give them out to the industry. We create awareness, and we are waiting for you to go out there and get the customers because we have created awareness. As I finish, I think training is so critical. It's something we can't ignore. It's something we can't overlook. I thank God that the chairman of AIBK is saying we are looking at ways we can partner with the college. and at least I've gotten something, I'll go back and report to the boss. There's business somewhere that's pending. Kindly train. Kindly train your people. You'll be able to get more customers. You'll be able to go to the market and talk with confidence. And at the end of the day, I'm waiting for the day when all Kenyans will embrace insurance. Insurance, we deal with risk management. And one of the risks we can manage is when we train our people. Because if we don't train, the risk will be more than what Mr. Wendo has talked about. I think I'm done. God bless you. We have a marine training seminar coming up in Mombasa next week. If you are able to join us, you can join us. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Hello. First, I would like to apologize to our panelists that they had so much to give us. The topics are so enriching, and they had done a lot of homework, and that is why I indulged a bit. I beg for forgiveness, but I think that we are the better. I know that the two are converging somewhere. I think there is the issue of trust that is coming up, the issue of trust. There is also the issue of awareness. And when it comes to trust, you know, when trust is lost, it's very hard to build it. People also lack confidence. Is it that the perception out there is negative? How do we make it positive? Because you remember, like when the Chinese were doing Thika Road, and they started relationships with girls from that area. One lady told her daughter, please stop this relationship, is not good. Now, after they did what they did, something developed, and they got a product. And that product, I've 8 months, because of pneumonia, expired. Now, when the mother was told, Wajiku, see, I told you Chinese things do not rust. Yeah? Now, that is perception. And you see, when we don't pay our claims, that is exactly what happens. When you take a wrong product or whatever it is, then when it comes to the day of reckoning, one will say, see, I told you, these products are useless. They don't help. It's a waste of money. So what should we do? I would like to engage my panelists a bit in terms of that. How do we change that narrative, negative narrative, in terms of perception, so that at least we can see these numbers growing? When you look at the global world, our input in terms of gross written premium is only 1%. If you remove South Africa, it's almost zero. You know, it's not anywhere. But we have a lot of potential. We are told that Africa is growing very fast. It's still very virgin. So what do we need to do? And I will start with, from a training perspective, is it that we are not doing enough research? We just think that this is the right product when we have not done research. I'll start with Beatrice.
Thank you, Mr. Moshemi. I want to respond as follows. Number one, the issue of trust. I think it has been there. And if we do more,
AIBK has 3 functions. First one is to impart skills to our members by coordinating various activities, various training sessions. Secondly, we lobby for good laws and regulations that impact on our members. And lastly, we champion customer rights we take care of all our customer interests, our customers being our members?
I think historically it's because of our leadership. AIBK has had very, very aggressive leaders, and the way leaders are elected annually, there are so many factors that are considered.
Have good training in terms of KYC, know your customer. It's also good to understand the products. It's also good to understand the dynamics that are going on in the environment. Is it true? Now, when I was growing up, Dan, this is yours now. Dan, when I was growing up, when I used to say, I want to be a shopkeeper, I want to be a soldier, I want to be a nurse. Even today, I have not had my children, and they know me. They are not saying they want to be insurance people. What is this? What's the issue? Dan.
You know, I'm an accountant by profession. And one of the modules I did during my time doing CPA 20 years ago was insurance. And the first lesson was about your word is your bond. That's really where I started learning about integrity. Your word is your bond, which means that you must keep your promise. I have a very interesting experience I'm going through right now. As most of you might know, I am leading a change management process at Home Africa. That's really what I am doing there over the last 2 years. Now, as I was encouraging my friend Peter Nduati and other directors to come and sit in my board, I had to give them a word about what I see is possible with the company and the opportunity that it creates. And I must make sure all the time that I help them to see the vision that I have all the time. If I cannot do that, then it means my word is not my bond. I see a problem in the insurance industry related to that. I have an experience where I banged my car at some point, and I wanted to get a claim because I needed to have the car repaired. I'm not going to go into details, but the insurer looked for the minutest excuse to get out of that cover, to get out of paying that claim. I said it's fine because you've insisted, it's your company, there's nothing you can do, it's fine. Insurance. How many customers would you remain with? So, if you go into the market, therefore, and you ask people who want to be in insurance, what is the background that they have? Do they have a background that this is an area of integrity, that this is an area you can make business and business that will grow in leaps and bounds? Is that what they have in their minds? I don't think so. I think it's something that we need to be very careful about, especially with the insurance brokers. And I think insurance brokers are even more, it's more interesting. You must remember, look at what the agency market in the airline industry has done to the agencies. The agencies business
and I would like Beatrice to take this one, and this is the last one I'm doing. I'll open it to the floor. Is it that the bar is too low, that the people who come into insurance are those ones whose doors and windows have been closed elsewhere, and the barriers of entry is there for everybody, you know? Is that what you're seeing at the training institution that where you are?
Let me say this. We cannot write ourselves off. The achievements that we've had so far over the years, it's an indication that we are moving forward. So we are not going to write ourselves off. We are going to say we must move forward as an insurance industry. The bar is not too low. I know there are guidelines by the regulator on who can be a principal officer of an insurance company. A lot of companies nowadays are encouraging their employees go and acquire professional courses Others are attending the evening classes at the universities. So we are moving forward even in terms of training. When I realize in the evening I have a class of 80 people attending a unit at the College of Insurance, I know we are trying to make the industry, the insurance industry, move forward through training. So we can't rate ourselves off and say we are down there.
Thank you so much, Beatrice. And I think it's a high time that you explain to these delegates, they're eager to understand that you have a research and development, so that at least there's somewhere we can actually get that information. We can do data analytics, we can develop products, we can innovate. Is that true? And how much of it is it that is related to the customer that you serve?
We have a research and development department that also deals with the area of book writing. And in that research department, I think a number of books have been developed, which we can get, we can go through, and we acquire knowledge. At the same time, I think we have gone to the area of even e-learning, so that if you want to do it online, it's possible that you can do it online. So when it comes to the issue of the insurance industry embracing training, I can say with 100% confidence that they have. Kindly continue that way, and we can move that industry forward and into the future.
Thank you so much. Dan, you have worked with money, you have worked with all these real estates, and you are financial analysts, and I don't know why, I'm thinking that you have some connections with up there, and you can tell us, how can we have an M-Pesa, feeling in the insurance? An M-Pesa scenario in insurance phenomena. They are the biggest bank. They are transacting much more money than the banks themselves. We want to have something like that. What do we do?
I think the thing to recognize is the size of the industry. The size of the industry we play in as the insurance sector is very, very small. I know they have just recently started picking up data on the number of policies that you're writing on a daily, monthly, annual basis. I don't know the numbers, but I can bet my money that the numbers are very few per capita compared to the population of the country. Now, I said earlier that the middle market, the middle income market, is at about 3 million people. How many of those people are your customers? Forget that. 94% of the population, 43 million people are out there. How many of those are your customers? And the only way to get them, by the way, in this economy is using the digital platform. Now, none of us are ready for that. Even Jubilee, that I was saying are quite ahead. They have just put together the innovation team. Mobile telephony has been in the market for more than 15 years. We are not there. Forget the insurance company. Insurance brokers. What is the engagement you have with the mobile telephony? That's the only way we will be an M-Pesa, or we'll create an M-Pesa for ourselves. We have to go to the customer. By the way, it's much more profitable than you can imagine. Because what the person at that level wants is affordability, that they can pay for their 5 shillings cover on a daily basis or on a transaction basis, regardless of the profit margin you're making. We have tried those systems, micro insurance and so on and so forth, but they only on a pilot basis. Thereafter, something happens and they disappear. Why is it that that's not the business we're doing today?
So what we are saying here is that when you look at the demographics and that pyramid, you find that the biggest population is actually on the bottom. And this is whereby we are saying they live below, is it $1? You know? And on top of that, we are thinking about the insurance. And then it means that we got to do it electronically because of cost. So I tend to think what you wanted to tell us also is that we need to have, as the Association of Insurance Brokers and the industry at large, we need to lobby government in terms of tax breaks, something nice, sweet, in terms of paybacks, so that when you invest in technology, elaborate technology, you can actually plow back instead of it becoming a cost and a barrier to entry, because that elaborate system is supposed to be there. Now, the other thing which is there is that the academic curriculum need to be changed so that at least, even in nursery school, these people are talking about insurance. They are talking about, they understand what insurance is, issues of risk management. We think that the college and those people who are doing about insurance need actually to appreciate our way of risk management, so that peer-to-peer insurance, we find reasons. Why is it that we are doing it? All right? Why are the chairmans better than the insurance, the formal insurance? Why? And that can only be done through insurance. I'm told that my time is over. I would have liked to take more questions, but time is up. I think that we are tweeting. You can tweet your questions. And on top of that, this eminent panel is with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, our panelists. I'd like us to stand for a bit. I know we've been sitting for a while. Let's just stretch kidogo. We're trying to catch up with time and give also, give our next speakers a chance to, give us their presentation. So we're going to do something very quickly. Tafadhali tusimame. Tusimame tu kidogo. We are young. Tulionyesha na Jubilee the age nini. We are not as old as I won't say some things here. But so we've been hearing insurance brokers, maneno hiyo yote. So we're going to do something very, very simple. How about we spell with our bodies? So we're going to spell insurance, and I need help. I need help. Sijui nichukue nani, acha nitembe. Nichukue tu mtu mmoja very, very fast. Zipi njoo. Zipi kwanza tako hapa. Zipi njoo. Njoo tu. It's very, very easy. So we're going to spell insurance with our body. So it's very, insurance niaje, nione, I. Okay, let's start with an A. How are we going to spell an A? A, good job. B, tereren, tereren. Yeah, you're doing great. C is easy. C is easy. Zipi njoo hapa juu. Good. D, we guess wakapa, wewe. So let's spell insurance. So Zipi umefanya hiyo orientation, uko sawa? Haujafanya? Tutakuwa tu sawa, tuko pamoja hapa, girl power. So, let's start with an I. Give me an I. Give me a C. Something like that. Ngoja wewe fanyeni tu C yenyu, msiibe mwa Kenya. Why are you following me? Give me a C. Ngoja, angalia. Give me an I. Give me an N. N. Zipi unafanyaje? Zipi anakopi watu huku. N, give me an S. Now you need your whole body. Come on now. Give me an S. It's a dancing movement over there. Give me a U. U ni rahisi. Give me an R. We, acha tuone. R. Zipi R. ZPR. Kitu kama tukitoka R tunaenda wapi? Tunaenda wapi after R? Aya, give me an A. Alafu next?
E.
Jameni, insurance.
N.
Aya, N. Alafu nini ingine? C. Give me an E. Acha tuone. E, mnipe E, by the way. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Yes, you can go. Thank you, Zippy. You've been very, very helpful. Hiyo ni ukweli kweli. Zippy amenisaidia. Mwoni kama zimenisaidia kweli. I give her a round of applause. Like, I mean, she was good people. She was good people. All right, our next speaker from Platinum Sponsors, the CEO, Amaco, Jonah Tomno. Karibu sana.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. The chairman, AIBK, your fellow chairman or presidents from the regional bodies, commissioner of insurance, members of AIBK, members of the insurance industry, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I know it's not going to be very easy speaking, especially after a teacher who has been quite captivating and has engaged all of us. But I hope that the exercise that was done before me is going to keep each one of us awake. My colleagues from Amaco have already been introduced, so I will not go through that. I know we are short of time. Mr. Muchemi and I think the previous speakers were talking about the attractiveness of the insurance industry for people who are employees. And I just want to let you know that recently I met a senior citizen in this country, a retired accountant, and he told me that when he began his career, he had a great admiration for people working for the insurance industry. He thought they were quite jolly people, and they had an easy time. That once they close a sale, and they are at liberty to decide how many zeros to put after the number, they generally had fun. And even after retirement, he told me that he still had a dream that if there's anything that he did not fulfill in his life, was failing to work for an insurance company. So ladies and gentlemen, let us be happy. The insurance industry is the place to be. And I like the story of the gentleman who said he had sent away 7, and the guy said, I know, because I'm one of them. We have great resilience as insurance people. So let me go to my topic, which is, unfortunately, embracing strategic transformation, insights, and lessons. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe the reason why we talk of ourselves being boring and all that is because of the many years that the insurance industry has been around with us. It's a very, very old practice. And I just want you to pay attention to that document which is on the right of the screen. That is how the old insurance policy looked like. I am sure if that document was presented to our current customers, they would die. Because as it is today, they complain a lot about the policies that we present to them, isn't it? They say we have small print. But can you imagine how it used to look like before? So that is how bad it was. But for us in Kenya, I mean, the insurance began around 1904. It was introduced by the settlers who came into our country. And from then on, it has grown to what it is today. Now, very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, what does insurance provide? You know, sometimes, and that is why personally I'm so confident that insurance is here to stay, because it offers certain things that no one else, there is no other industry, there is no other player offers. It gives people peace of mind. You know, you can't do much when you are faced constantly with uncertainty, and you have no way of managing it. So insurance provides us as individuals and as businesses with a stress relief. You can be able to take risks knowing that you have someone standing behind you. We also cater for a lot of costs that are suffered by the people who take policies with us, not to talk about the medical insurance and the medical, health, and life insurances. In terms of businesses, we provide protection to businesses, and we allow them to take risks. We also provide economic stimulation, because the money that we collect, whether it is retained by the broker or it is passed on to the underwriter, at the end of the day, that money ends up in some investment somewhere. So we provide a lot of funds for investment, which are used to develop the country, and so on. And then, more importantly, and I guess this is why the commissioner was talking about, why are people advertising for direct insurances? What would be the reason? Because if there's any part of the sector that does a lot of the area of safety, it is the brokers. We talk to our customers. We communicate with them. We tell them about risk mitigation and how to keep safe. Okay, in terms of visuals, and I love visuals, you know, and I'm sure the teacher from the College of Insurance will tell you that the best way to engage people is if you can show them pictures of things. Now, insurance represents the future. It represents stability, it represents happiness, it represents joy, and those are the images you see on your screen. And that is why I have no doubt in my mind that insurance, in whichever form, has a future. Look at the old black and white photo there. Even in the olden days, that picture is headed the dawn of hope. Insurance business, insurance industry provides hope for everyone. Now, I know my colleagues, the speakers who came before me, did talk about the insurance numbers, and I want to share with you in some bit of more detail the growth numbers. That is how our industry has been growing. And it will worry you, of course, that from the year 2013, the industry in terms of growth rate has been going down. We have actually not been growing. Before 2013, I think the industry growth average was about 20%. But from about 2013, it has been going down. And when I looked at the IRA numbers, I think for the half year, in terms of general business, the growth rate is about 6%. And in fact, when you remove medical, it comes down to 3%. So what is it? Is there something that we as the players are not doing that we ought to be doing? Now, look at those numbers. Those are the actual premiums written. And the gentleman from Home Africa was talking about our numbers being insignificant. It is true. Last year, 2016, the premium written in general business was 123 billion, and in life, about 80 billion. Those are basically very, very small numbers. When you look at the growth, you can see it is evening over the period from 2012 to 2016. Nothing dramatic at all. Sorry. Another graph showing the growth rate in a little bit more detail. You can see the way it went down from 2014 to 2013, and then from 2015, it's going up. But you can see it is kind of flat. Really nothing dramatic to write home about. In terms of actual premiums, profitability. I know somebody was talking about us making money. I think the reality of the insurance business is that there's very little money to be made. Because you notice that the total profitability before tax last year for the entire industry is below 16 billion. I think the quarterly numbers that are reported by banks are way above those numbers. So we have a problem. Those numbers are not very encouraging, and that's why sometimes you wonder, I hear there are many people who are applying to join our industry, but you wonder, what are they looking for? There must be something that we don't know. Something else about penetration, retention, for example. Retention in life, according to last year, and I think up to half-year numbers from IRA, in life it is at 92%. In general business, it dropped from 75% at the end of last year to 70% in Q2 of 2017. The question is, where are these customers going? When we are not retaining them, where do they go? Are they going to competition, or they are going to other forms of risk management? What are the key challenges in our industry? And you can see the numbers there. I really don't need to go into a lot of details, but these are things that we've already, other speakers before me have talked about: low knowledge and awareness of insurance, negative perception of our industry, poor service, cultural and religious beliefs, cumbersome claims process, poverty, and low income levels. Those are the challenges that are facing our industry today. But are we the only people? Or it is the entire business environment? Banks, for example, why are they growing? Telecommunications, why are they growing? And yet they operate in the same environment as we do. And this is now the gist of my presentation. Overcoming these challenges requires transformation, strategic transformation. If we want to change the numbers that we've seen, we have no choice but to embrace strategic transformation. What is strategic transformation? And I want to pick, the definition of strategy from a gentleman called Chandler. It is the determination of the long-term goals and objectives of an enterprise, and the adoption of courses of action and the allocation of resources necessary for carrying out these goals. That is the definition of strategy which struck me, and I thought I could share with you. Now, the next thing is transformation. We talked about strategic transformation. So I've defined what strategy is. What is transformation? I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, that transformation is not about changing your name, it's not about changing your location, it's not about... Transformation is change in form, nature, or appearance. And I have the story there of the caterpillar transforming itself into a butterfly. We in the industry must transform ourselves in order to change the numbers that we are looking at. What are the areas of transformation that we could address? Product innovation, and somebody was challenging us, the brokers, whether, for example, we have research and product development departments in our companies. Because that's a challenge. There is no way you are going to innovate products without investing in research and development. Creative distribution channels, improve customer service and experience, and creating more customer touch points. Focusing on value rather than price, and we talked about earlier on, people talked about the undercutting. That is a big menace. And we keep on blaming ourselves and asking, is it the broker, is it the underwriter, is it the agent, is it the customer? And then we need to embrace technology. Now, I want to put this in context and share with you the story of Amaco. How have we applied strategy and transformation in changing the outlook of our business? And what do the numbers tell us? Unlike my brother from Jubilee, who has been around for 80 years, but they have a heart of 18 years. Amaco is about 18 years, both in physique, spirit, and the heart. And therefore, we can lay claim on the benefits that come with youth and agility. We are a general business underwriter. We have 26 branches. We have embraced technology, maybe not the state of the art, but what is available in the market today. We have the best. We have highly qualified and experienced staff, and my sister from the College of Insurance will confirm to you that we are one of their biggest customers. Every course that happens, we have people there. And in 2015, we had our best year with a turnover of 3.3 billion. And last year, we dropped a bit to 3.2 billion shillings. And I will explain in a short while. Now, there was someone who was asking about whether we have statistics about the number of the customers that we touch. And for us, last year, we served about 158,000 customers the whole year. People that walked into our offices directly or through our intermediaries. And like I said, in the 26 branches that also are spread across the country. Our guiding principle is our mission, which I really don't need to read the words there, but let me share with you the vision. It is to be the trusted insurance and related financial services partner in Africa. That is our true north. That is our ideal situation. And we are gearing ourselves towards achieving that by applying the strategic transformation that we've talked about. Our values, and I really don't need to spend a lot of time on that, but yes, as a company, we are driven by values that keep us together, flexibility. And in fact, when we were doing our strategic plan, there was a question of what is flexibility? And I can assure you, flexibility here is in terms of the customer. We are quite, and our customers actually did give us that feedback that we listen and we accommodate. We go out of our way to accommodate them. And sometimes this works to the detriment of the company, maybe the shareholders. Because when you listen to the customer too much, he will have his cake and maybe take the share of the shareholder. But we also gear towards excellence, teamwork, customer focus, and honesty. Some other numbers that are important for you to know, our asset base stands at about 5 billion. And our funds, being a general underwriter, are invested in short-term securities, the government, a bit of real estate, but not so much. We leave that to the life companies. The premium, like I had alluded to earlier, 2015 was our best year when we did 3.3 billion, but that was also the turning point for us, because it is after 2015 that we decided to change our approach to the market and became more selective and determined for ourselves that we cannot serve everybody. We cannot also continuously serve the traditional customers or the market segments that we were serving, but we changed. And that is why in 2016, our numbers went down from 3.3 billion in 2015 to 3.1 or 3.2 billion in 2016. By way of a graph, in terms of profitability, I did tell you that we are a very flexible company, and like I said, sometimes it works against other stakeholders. Last year, you can see that our profitability took nosedive, and actually we closed at a loss of about 47 million. And the reason for this is because we took on a lot of provisions for bad and doubtful debts and incurred but not reported claims, as a way also of cleaning up our books and preparing ourselves for takeoff in the years to come. Now, I think that would be a very, very interesting statistic for the majority of the people who are seated here today. And this is the reason why we are here. Our brothers and sisters in the broking fraternity, we came knocking on your doors, like my colleague Elizabeth was saying, and we are grateful that you opened the doors for us. And out of that, our business from this channel of brokers has grown significantly from slightly below 400 million in 2014 to slightly over 650 million in 2016. And I think so far, we have surpassed those numbers as I speak to you today.